What if I told you that some of the most renowned R&B artists not only passed away too soon, but also did so in the most painful, shocking, and disastrous ways? From the mysterious murder of Sam Cooke to the fatal accident of Natina and Gerald Levert, devastating drug overdose. Here are 20 worst ways R&B stars have died. Number 1. Aaliyah Dana Houghton. On January 16, 1979, Aaliyah was born in Brooklyn, New York. She started playing at an early age, and when R. Kelly signed her to his debut album, Age Ain't Nothing But a Number, she made her breakthrough. Among the album's platinum-selling hits were Back and Forth and At Your Best, You Are Loved. Her second album, One in a Million, which had singles like If Your Girl Only Knew and One in a Million, helped her become even more well-known. Aaliyah became a global celebrity thanks to her distinctive style, which combined pop, hip-hop, and R&B, as well as her ethereal appearance and silky voice. Aaliyah had a career as an actress in addition to her singing career. Together with Jet Li, she starred in the film Romeo Must Die, which included the popular song Try Again. One of her last roles was in Queen of the Damned, which she also starred in. Tragically, on August 25, 2001, Aaliyah lost her life in a plane crash in the Bahamas. She was 22 years old. Aaliyah had just finished recording a music video for her song Rock the Boat with her group. To return to the United States, they boarded a small private aircraft, but the plane crashed soon after takeoff. Later, it was discovered that the aircraft was overweight and weighed more than was advised. There were several mechanical problems with the airplane as well. All on board, including Aaliyah, were killed in an instant. The music industry was devastated by Aaliyah's death, which shook the entire world. Imagine what more she could have achieved if she had lived longer. Number 2. Marvin Gaye. His relationship with his father, Marvin Gaye Sr., who was severe and aggressive, was a source of stress during Marvin's difficult upbringing. Despite being greatly impacted by his family situation, Marvin found solace in music. He sang in church choirs and had an early passion in the art. What's Going On, which tackled social and political topics including poverty, racial inequity, and war, was arguably Gaye's most significant album. His prior releases of romantic and pop-driven Motown singles were a far cry from the album's calm, socially concerned vibe. With hits like What's Going On, Mercy Mercy Me, The Ecology, and Inner City Blues, Gaye became one of the most influential singers of the 1970s and a generational voice. Marvin Gaye had a successful career, but his personal life was chaotic. He battled depression, cocaine addiction, and a troubled marriage to Anna Gordy, the sister of Berry Gordy, the founder of Motown. Conflicts inside Motown and the demands of celebrity reflected his chaotic personal life. The day before Marvin Gaye turned 45, on April 1, 1984, his life was tragically cut short. After a furious quarrel at their Los Angeles home, his father, Marvin Gaye Sr., shot and murdered him. After a disagreement over an instance where Marvin had stepped in to prevent his father from stealing money from his mother, the conflict between Marvin and his father intensified. Marvin died instantly after being shot in the chest by Gaye's father, who had a history of aggressive conduct and a long history of mental illness. An artist who had previously accomplished so much had a horrible and surprising conclusion to his life. Despite being found guilty of voluntary manslaughter, Gaye's father did not get a prison sentence. Rather, he was ordered by the court to undergo mental health treatment. Number 3. Sam Cooke. Growing up in a religious family, Sam Cooke's early exposure to gospel music at church greatly influenced his future style. Cooke joined the gospel group The Soul Stirrers in 1950 after starting singing gospel at an early age. There, he became well known for his sincere performances and strong voice. But Cooke started experimenting with secular music as his popularity grew. His debut solo single, You Send Me, was released in 1957 and quickly became a huge smash, signaling his shift from gospel to pop and R&B. You Send Me's success contributed to Cooke's position in the music industry. During the civil rights struggle, Cooke's iconic song, "A Change Is Gonna Come," became an anthem. Composed in reaction to African Americans' hardships in the 1960s and influenced by Bob Dylan's "Blowin' in the Wind," the song was a potent statement of change and optimism during a tumultuous period in American history. Sam Cooke was shot and killed on December 11, 1964, when he was 33 years old, bringing his life to a tragic and controversial conclusion. The Hacienda Motel in Los Angeles, California, is where he passed away. He passed away under mysterious circumstances that have been the focus of discussion for many years. The motel's manager, Bertha Franklin, reportedly shot Cooke after he attempted to break into her office, according to the official police report. Many people have questioned the event's specifics. According to Bertha Franklin, Cooke was violent and drunk, and she shot him in self-defense after he allegedly pushed his way into the office. Cooke had been attempting to assault Franklin, according to the police, who declared the incident a justifiable homicide. Number 4. Whitney Houston. Clive Davis, the head of Arista Records, found Whitney Houston and signed her to a record deal in the early 1980s, which was her big break. Hits like "The Greatest Love of All" and "How Will I Know" were featured on her self-titled first album, Whitney Houston, which was an instant commercial triumph. Her remarkable voice range, accuracy, and emotional depth soon won her recognition. The songs "I Want to Dance with Somebody Who Loves Me" and "Didn't We Almost Have It All" were among the huge hits from her second album, Whitney. The record achieved multi-platinum success and cemented her place among the most well-known musicians globally. Whitney Houston had a successful career, but her personal life was difficult, especially when it came to relationships and substance misuse. In 1992, she wed Bobby Brown, and the two had a daughter, Bobby Christina Brown, in 1993. However, there was ongoing public scrutiny and news of problems in their marriage, including Houston's drug usage problems and Brown's own addiction. In the early 2000s, Houston's drug addiction, which included cocaine, marijuana, and prescription medications, became well known. Her formerly flawless voice started to deteriorate, along with her physical and emotional condition. Her once thriving career declined as a result of her ongoing troubles and inconsistent public appearances, even after several attempts at rehabilitation. On February 11, 2012, Whitney Houston unexpectedly died at the age of 48. On the eve of the 2012 Grammy Awards, she was discovered drowned in the bathtub of her hotel room at the Beverly Hilton Hotel in Beverly Hills, California. Heart disease and cocaine usage were identified as contributory factors. However, accidental drowning was the official cause of death. Her usage of cocaine and other substances was shown to be the cause of the cardiovascular repercussions that finally led to her drowning, and there were also signs of other drugs in her blood. Number 5. Tupac Shakur. After Tupac joined the group Digital Underground as a backup rapper and dancer and signed with Interscope Records, his career took off in the early 1990s. His first solo album, Tupacalypse Now, which included the contentious but highly regarded track Brenda's Got a Baby, was his big break. The album tackled topics including teen pregnancy, poverty, and police brutality, demonstrating Tupac's readiness to take on pressing concerns. Tupac's second album, Strictly for My N.I.G.Gazy, which featured singles like Keep Your Head Up and I Get Around, further solidified his rise to fame. He gained recognition for his ability to combine social commentary with street-level realism, and his music struck a strong chord with youthful fans, particularly those in neglected neighborhoods. Tupac Shakur was shot several times in a drive-by shooting in Las Vegas, Nevada on the evening of September 7, 1996, while he was in a car with Suge Knight, the CEO of Death Row Records, and a friend. Tupac was shot in the right hand, chest, and pelvis during the stoplight shooting. After being brought to the hospital, he had surgery, but on September 13, 1996, he passed away from his wounds. He was only 25. One of the greatest unsolved mysteries in music history is the circumstances surrounding Tupac's passing. His murder's motivations are the subject of numerous speculations. While some think that his position in the East Coast-West Coast dispute contributed to the murder, others think that a feud inside the Death Row Records group or even vengeance from rival hip-hop artists was the cause. Number 6. Lisa Nicole Lopes. On May 27, 1971, Lisa Nicole Lopes was born in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. She was brought up by her mother, Perry, and developed an early love for music. She first wanted to work in the church, but her passion for R&B and hip-hop quickly drew her attention to music. Early in the 1990s, Lopes relocated to Atlanta, Georgia, where she finally met T-Boz, Tian Watkins, and Chili, Rosanda Thomas. In 1991, the trio of ladies founded TLC. Left Eye was well known for her daring dress choices, unique rapping style, and innovative contributions to TLC's catalog. In order to represent her strength and uniqueness, she wore the X emblem of a sportswear brand over her left eye in her most famous appearance. She was also renowned for her honest, unvarnished lyrics and her bold, don't care attitude. Lisa gave TLC a musical edge that set them apart from other girl groups of the time, especially with her raps and creative vocal technique. Her nickname, Left Eye, stuck since she was frequently spotted with a logo over her left eye. Fans were drawn to her larger-than-life presence, which combined vulnerability with a rough, streetwise demeanor. In La Ceiba, Honduras, Lisa Left Eye Lopes lost her life in a car accident on April 25, 2002. She was 30 years old. She was in the country for a spiritual retreat while she was producing a documentary on her life and her experiences in Honduras. She was riding in a friend's car when the collision happened, and Lopes wasn't wearing a seatbelt at the time. After being thrown from the vehicle, she passed away immediately. Next artist on our list was honored with a posthumous Grammy Lifetime Achievement Award. Number 7. Donny Hathaway. Everything is Everything, Hathaway's debut album, introduced the world to his complex songs and rich, soulful voice. An anthem of social consciousness, The Ghetto was a highlight piece on the album. A Song for You, one of the most cherished soul ballads of all time, and other profoundly spiritual and emotional tracks from his follow-up album, Donny Hathaway, further demonstrated his skill. Hathaway struggled with acute depression and was later diagnosed with paranoid schizophrenia despite his extraordinary skill. His personal and professional lives were significantly impacted by his well-documented mental health issues. He exhibited unpredictable behavior as a result of his illness, including auditory hallucinations and delusions. His difficulties were observed by friends and co-workers such as Roberta Flack, and he was frequently admitted to hospitals for therapy. These difficulties frequently interrupted his career, making it challenging for him to regularly perform and record music. Donny Hathaway was discovered dead outside the Essex House Hotel in New York City on January 13, 1979. He fell from the window of his hotel room on the 15th story, and his body was found on the sidewalk, although authorities declared his death to be a suicide. Number 8. Yolanda Rose. American R&B singer Yolanda Rose. Lala Brown was born in Milwaukee, Wisconsin on May 20, 1986, the youngest of 5 children born to Maria, who was of Mexican descent, and William Brown, who was African American. Lala's love for music was evident from a young age. By the time she was 11, she was performing professionally at weddings and other local venues under the stage name Premier. She attended Frederick Douglass Elementary School, Jackie Robinson Middle School, and Milwaukee High School of the Arts before giving birth to her daughter, Amira Ariel Brown, on May 16th. In 2005, Lala went to Atlanta, Georgia to advance her music career. Her big break came when she was featured on R&B singer Lyfe Jennings' song SEX, which served as a warning about the dangers of unprotected sex. In October 2006, the song peaked at number 3 on the Billboard Hot R&B Hip Hop Songs chart and number 37 on the Billboard Hot 100, indicating its considerable success. Following this, Lala toured with Jennings but split ways due to artistic differences. In June of 2007, she went back to Milwaukee to record her first solo album, which included songs like I'm Feeling It, Rescue Me, and Give Them What They Want. Lala and her producer and boyfriend, Jatanyue Kool-Aid Claiborne, were tragically discovered shot dead in the Loud Enough Productions recording studio in Milwaukee on October 19, 2007. 3 days later, Claiborne's brother found their bodies. Their killings are still unsolved as of March 2025, and the autopsy results were not made public. Number 9. Otis Redding. Otis's singing was greatly impacted by the gospel music that his father, a Baptist minister, exposed him to. After starting out in the church choir, Redding joined the school band at Ballard-Hudson High School. He participated in neighborhood talent events at the Douglas Theater to provide for his family, winning 15 straight until being asked to resign. Redding became a singer and driver for Johnny Jenkins and the Pinetoppers in the late 1950s. His recording of These Arms of Mine at Stax Records in Memphis, Tennessee in 1962 marked his breakthrough. A number of singles, including Respect, I've Been Loving You Too Long, and Try a Little Tenderness, preceded the song's success. Redding gained more recognition after his performance at the 1967 Monterey Pop Festival, which highlighted his charismatic stage persona. He recorded his most famous song, Sittin' on the Dock of the Bay, the same year. On December 10, 1967, while traveling to a show, Redding's jet tragically crashed into Lake Monona, which is close to Madison, Wisconsin. His age at the time was 26. The 1968 posthumous release of Sittin' on the Dock of the Bay made it the first posthumous #1 hit in American history. Number 10. Johnny Kemp. Johnny Kemp, a singer, songwriter, and record producer from the Bahamas, gained recognition for his 1988 single, Just Got Paid. He started playing in local nightclubs at the age of 13 after being born in Nassau, Bahamas, on August 2, 1959. In order to pursue his musical career, Kemp relocated to Harlem, New York in 1979. Kemp was a session guitarist and songwriter in the early 1980s, backing up vocals for bands including Change and the B&Q Band. He demonstrated his songwriting abilities by co-writing a number of songs on these bands' albums. His self-titled debut album, which he published in 1986, had the minor hit song Just Another Lover, which Keshif co-wrote. Kemp's second album, Secrets of Flying, which was published in 1987, was his big break. The album featured the #1 hit, Just Got Paid, which peaked at number 10 on the Billboard Hot 100 and #1 on the Billboard Hot R&B Hip Hop Songs chart. Kemp received a Grammy Award nomination for Best R&B Song in 1989 as a result of the song's popularity. Sadly, Kemp, who was 55 years old, was discovered dead off the shore of Montego Bay, Jamaica, on April 16, 2015. He was reportedly strolling on rocks when he lost his balance, collapsed, struck his head, and drowned. According to reports, he did not board the ship that was supposed to host him on the Tom Joyner Foundation's annual Fantastic Voyage cruise. Number 11. Natina Reed. American singer, rapper, composer, and actress. Natina Tijuana Reid is most recognized for her contribution to the R&B female trio Block and for her performance in the 2000 movie Bring It On. She was raised in Atlanta, Georgia, where she started her acting and music careers. Reid was found and hired as a writer for TLC by Lisa Left Eye Lopes, who saw her musical abilities early on. The result of this collaboration was the creation of Block, which became successful with songs like 808, Bring It All to Me, and I Do. Block, the band's debut album, reached number 53 on the Billboard 200 chart. Apart from her musical pursuits, Reid also went into acting. In the cheerleading comedy Bring It On from 2000, she played Genelope, for which she is arguably most famous. Her other roles include a cameo in the 2003 dance film Honey and appearances in the television series VIP. In Duluth, Georgia, Reid was tragically hit by a car while crossing a street on October 26, 2012, 2 days before her 32nd birthday. At the scene, she was pronounced deceased. Since it was proven to be an accident, no charges were brought against the driver, who tried to help by calling 911. Number 12, Phyllis Hyman. Phyllis started playing with a number of bands in the early 1970s, such as All the People and New Direction. In addition, she was the lead singer of Phyllis Hyman and the PH Factor. A major turning point in her life was her relocation to New York City, where she established herself as a mainstay in the local music scene by playing in clubs and lending her voice to acts like John Lucien. Her big break came in 1975 when she was included on jazz drummer Norman Connor's album You Are My Starship, particularly on the song Betcha by Golly Wow, which made her a national celebrity. In 1977, Phyllis capitalized on her increasing popularity by releasing her debut album of the same name. Her ability to integrate R&B, jazz, and soul influences was demonstrated on the album. Albums like Somewhere in My Lifetime and You Know How to Love Me were her next albums. The title tune of the latter became one of her signature songs. She kept putting out successful albums in the 1980s and early 1990s, such as Living All Alone and Prime of My Life, which included the smash song Don't Want to Change the World. Phyllis made significant contributions to theater in addition to her recording career. She played the lead in the Broadway revue Sophisticated Ladies, which was based on Duke Ellington's music in 1981. She was nominated for a Tony Award for Best Performance by a featured actress in a musical and won a Theatre World Award for her performance. Her roles in movies like School Days and The Kill Reflex are particularly noteworthy. Despite her professional success, Phyllis faced personal challenges, including struggles with bipolar disorder and depression. Tragically, she died by suicide on June 30, 1995, just days before her 46th birthday. Her passing was a significant loss to the music community, but her legacy endures through her influential recordings and performances. Number 13, James Brown. Brown joined the Gospel Starlighters, who later became the Famous Flames in the middle of the 1950s. Brown's rise in the music industry began when their 1956 single, Please, 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 became a major R&B smash. His spectacular staged appearance, which included enticing dancing skills, raw vocal force, and strong energy, earned him a reputation. Brown, who prioritized rhythm and groove over melody and harmony, played a significant role in the evolution of funk music. Many people point to his 1965 hit song, Papa's Got a Brand New Bag, as a turning point in the development of funk. It's a man's world, I Got You, I Feel Good, and Get Up, I Feel Like Being a Sex Machine are some of the other noteworthy songs. These songs impacted innumerable musicians from a variety of genres in addition to showcasing his distinct approach. In addition to his accomplishments in music, Brown was a key figure in the civil rights struggle. His song, Say It Loud, "I'm Black and I'm Proud" from 1968 became a rallying cry for the empowerment of African Americans. In order to further establish himself as a cultural hero, he also campaigned to advance social services and education within the Black community. Despite his achievements, Brown had a history of legal and personal troubles, including drug-related arrests and relationship problems. He nevertheless persisted in performing and recording music, preserving his standing in the music industry. He worked with younger artists in his later years and received praise for his lasting influence. James Brown died of congestive heart failure in Atlanta, Georgia, on December 25, 2006. It is believed that fame often comes with a heavy price. Number 14, Gerald Levert. Gerald Levert was a strong R&B singer recognized for his deep, soulful voice and emotional melodies. He was born on July 13, 1966, and was the son of the O'Jays' lead singer, Eddie Levert. Gerald established a prosperous career for himself as a solo performer and as a member of Levert, a band he founded with his buddy Mark Gordon and brother Sean. He released hits like Casanova and Pop, 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 Pop Goes My Mind as part of Levert. His solo hits included I'd Give Anything and Baby Hold On to Me, a duet with his father, which peaked at number 1 on the R&B charts. He also joined with Keith Sweat and Johnny Gill to form LSG, delivering the single My Body. Gerald continued on producing songs, teaching up-and-coming musicians, and creating music in the 2000s. He collaborated with musicians such as Anita Baker, Barry White, and Patti LaBelle. At the age of 40, Gerald Levert unexpectedly died at his Cleveland, Ohio, home on November 10, 2006. At first, it was said that he had died of a heart attack, but subsequent toxicology testing showed that he had accidentally overdosed on prescription and over-the-counter drugs. Gerald had taken a combination of Vicodin, a pain reliever, Percocet, a pain reliever, Darvocet, a pain reliever, Xanax, an anxiety drug, and 2 antihistamines, according to the Cuyahoga County Coroner's Office. According to reports, Gerald had been using self-medication to treat chronic pain from previous surgeries and injuries. It was decided that his death was an accident rather than the result of deliberate abuse. Number 15, James Ingram. Discovered by Quincy Jones, who was so impressed by Ingram's demo performances of Just Once and 100 Ways that he included both songs on his 1981 album, The Dude. Ingram's big break came in 1982 when his vocal performance on 100 Ways earned him his first Grammy Award for Best Male R&B Vocal Performance. Ingram's solo career was also a success. At number 1 on the Billboard Hot 100 in 1990, I Don't Have the Heart was his biggest solo song. Ingram was not just a singer but also a gifted songwriter. His co-writing of PYT, Pretty Young Thing, for Michael Jackson's Thriller album helped make it one of the all-time best-selling albums. Throughout his career, he was nominated for numerous Grammy Awards and won 2. His duet with Linda Ronstadt on the song Somewhere Out There from the animated film An American Tail is among his most well-known works. He was one of his generation's most notable vocalists due to his rich, expressive voice. The news of James Ingram's death was confirmed on social media by his longtime friend and collaborator, Debbie Allen, who expressed her sadness and praised his extraordinary talent and kindness. James Ingram died on January 29, 2019, at the age of 66, from brain cancer, a diagnosis that had not been widely publicized prior to his death. Number 16, David Ruffin. Having joined the Temptations in 1964, Ruffin became the lead vocals for some of their most popular songs, such as My Girl, Ain't Too Proud to Beg, and I Wish It Would Rain. His ego, drug use, and conflicts with the group caused him to be fired in 1968, despite the fact that his deep, raw voice helped establish the Motown sound. Ruffin had some success as a solo artist, Walk Away from Love, after leaving the Temptations, but his career was cut short by substance abuse and unpredictable conduct. He battled addiction during the 1970s and 1980s and was regularly in legal issues. Ruffin was declared dead at a hospital after being discovered unconscious in a Philadelphia crack house on June 1, 1991. Although an accidental cocaine overdose was determined to be the cause of his death, there were questions about what actually transpired as reports surfaced that a man had dropped him off at the hospital and left him there. According to reports, Ruffin was carrying between $40,000 and $50,000 in cash, which mysteriously vanished. The missing money and the speed at which his death was written off as an overdose led some to suspect foul play. Number 17, Barry White. Barry White was a well-known American singer, composer, and producer who was born Barry Eugene Carter in Galveston, Texas, on September 12, 1944. He was praised for his romantic musical style and deep bass baritone voice, which greatly influenced the disco, funk, and soul genres. White was raised in the south-central Los Angeles community of Watts. Despite his early gang membership and brief incarceration at the age of 16, he found motivation in music, especially after listening to "It's Now or Never" by Elvis Presley when he was imprisoned. This encounter inspired him to become a musician. White started out as a session musician in the 1960s before moving to Los Angeles to work as an A&R manager for several independent companies. When he founded the Love Unlimited Orchestra in 1973, he made his breakthrough with songs like Love's Theme. White's solo hits include "Can't Get Enough of Your Love, Babe" and "You're the First, the Last, My Everything." White had 9 children from 2 marriages. Like his music, he had a rich and complicated personal life that reflected his intense love and devotion to relationships. White struggled with his weight and high blood pressure, among other health difficulties, throughout his life. While waiting for a kidney transplant in 2003, he had a stroke, which ultimately caused his premature death on July 4, 2003, at the age of 58. Number 18. Michael Jackson. Michael formed the Jackson 5 with his older brothers, Jackie, Tito, Jermaine, and Marlon, in 1964. Michael became the main vocalist very fast, enthralling listeners with his powerful performances and sophisticated singing style. "I Want You Back," "ABC," "The Love You Save," and "I'll Be There" were the group's first 4 singles to reach the top of the Billboard Hot 100 chart after they signed with Motown Records in 1968. The Jackson 5 became a well-known act in the music industry as a result of their extraordinary success. Michael started a solo career when he was still a member of the Jackson 5. A major turning point was his 1979 album, Off the Wall, which featured a more mature sound with songs like "Don't Stop Till You Get Enough" and "Rock With You." Michael received his first Grammy Award for the record, which sold over 20 million copies worldwide. During a rendition of Billie Jean on the television program Motown 25, "Yesterday, Today, Forever" in 1983, Michael popularized the moonwalk, one of his many inventive dance techniques. Numerous artists have been impacted by his choreography and style, which are still essential to his legacy. Michael's private life was the subject of tremendous controversy and media attention. In 1993 and 2003, he was accused of child molestation. The first case was resolved out of court, and in the 2005 trial, he was found not guilty of any crimes. At the age of 50, Michael Jackson passed away at his Los Angeles home on June 25, 2009, following severe propofol intoxication. Dr. Conrad Murray, his personal doctor, was eventually found guilty of involuntary manslaughter. Number 19. Roger Troutman. Roger developed an early love for music and founded his first band, the Crusaders, not to be confused with the jazz group of the same name. Troutman worked on a number of musical endeavors during the 1960s and 1970s, such as Roger and the Human Body and Little Roger and the Vells. His debut single with the Human Body was Freedom, which was released in 1977. Together with his brothers Larry, Lester, and Terry, as well as Bobby Glover and Gregory Jackson, Troutman founded the band Zapp in 1979. The band immediately became well known for their distinctive sound, which was defined by Troutman's skill with the talkbox, a gadget that alters the sound of the guitar or keyboard to resemble human speech. The smash song More Bounce to the Ounce, which peaked at number 2 on the Billboard Soul Singles list, was featured on their self-titled first album, which was released in 1980 and produced by Bootsy Collins. Zapp became well known in the funk genre as a result of this triumph. Troutman explored a solo career in addition to his work with Zapp, releasing his debut album The Many Facets of Roger in 1981. A funk-infused rendition of Marvin Gaye's I Heard It Through the Grapevine, which peaked at number 1 on the R&B singles list, was featured on the album. Subsequent solo albums included Bridging the Gap, Unlimited, and The Saga Continues. I Want to Be Your Man, a successful song from the 1987 album, peaked at number 1 on the R&B chart and number 3 on the Billboard Hot 100. Roger Troutman was repeatedly shot outside his recording studio in Dayton, Ohio on April 25, 1999. Number 20. Etta James. Etta founded the Creolettes, a girl group, while she was only starting to get into her teens. Musician Johnny Otis noticed their skill and helped them land a recording deal with Modern Records. During this period, Jamesetta Hawkins changed her stage name to Etta James, which is the opposite of her real name. Etta recorded The Wallflower, also called Roll With Me, Henry, in 1955 when she was barely 17 years old. It was an answer to Hank Ballard's Work With Me, Annie. After becoming a hit, the song peaked at number 1 on the R&B chart. Her rise in the music industry began with this success, which led to her traveling with well-known performers like Little Richard. Despite her career achievements, Etta struggled with serious personal issues, such as heroin addiction, which resulted in jail time and treatment in rehab centers. Her career was hampered by her battles with addiction, but she showed incredible fortitude and made a significant comeback with the album 7 Year Itch in the late 1980s. She gained new fans as a result of this comeback, which also confirmed her reputation as a powerful musician. Etta's health started to deteriorate after she was diagnosed with leukemia in 2010. In addition, she experienced difficulties from renal failure and dementia. On January 20th, 2012, Etta James died in Riverside, California, a few days before turning 74. To uncover more intriguing stories among Hollywood celebrities, don't forget to hit subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next one.